Hey pals, John here with the Lens Power, and today we're going to take a look at the Sony A7 IV. At first glance, there doesn't appear to be much of a difference between the A7 IV and the A7 III, so much so in fact that I decided to leave the strap on the A7 III just to make my life a little bit easier. But when you actually have them in your hands and you're holding them and you're taking a good close look, you notice that there are a few little differences. So, your on-off switch, shutter release, all in the same place. Your basic controls are all where you would expect them to be if you're a seasoned A7 III user. Where the differences really start to kick in is what is being called the PSAM Dial, which is your program aperture shutter manual, PSAM. Whereas previously we had PSAM, full auto, a couple of customizable user modes, S and Q and scene. We've done away with scene. We now have 3 user programmable modes, and there's actually a second dial underneath here, which is controlled by pushing in this little button and switching it. And that little dial actually has your photo, video, and your S and Q modes, which is why we no longer have a separate S and Q mode on the top here. That's the first difference. Then we have these 2 dials here, much like we have on the A7 III. This one on the A7 III is a dedicated exposure compensation dial. So if you're using flash photography or if you're using any of the automatic settings on a camera, auto ISO, auto shutter, you can tell the camera, hey, be brighter, hey, be darker than what your images are sort of at by default. Now, on the A7 IV, this is no longer a dedicated dial. Instead, you can go into the menu and change it up as you will. Now, the same is true on the A7 III, but it was marked up, dedicated as a exposure compensation dial. This one on the A7 IV also has a little lock there. Press it down and you can't turn it, press it up, and you're free to rotate, press it down to lock it back in place. And one last change on this, not so much a change of location as just a swap around of functions. On the A7 III you have 2 buttons here. One is labeled C1 and the other is labeled C2, with a dedicated record button on the back here, right where your thumb would be. Now, they've swapped C1 and the record button around on the A7 IV. Your record button is now on the top. This is in line kind of with the A7S III, but being that it's a mirrorless camera, you can actually dive into the menu and completely customize the way things are. So if you don't like your record button being up here and you want it back here where it used to be on the A7 III, you can go in and swap those around. It is not a big deal. Otherwise, you're pretty much the same. You've got the larger battery grip that we've seen on the A7S III, the FX3 of late. Feels good in my hands. I have slightly larger than average size hands, so if that gives you any kind of indication. If not, fist bump the next time you come in. We have the flippy out, tilty, rotatey, turny screen that we've seen on the A7S III. Feel like this is going to be standard across Sony's A7 range of cameras from this point forward. Under this door, we have 2 SD card slots, one of which doubles as a CF Express Type A card slot. And if you're not sure about the differences between CF Express types A, B, C, we actually did a video on that a while back. It is on our YouTube and Instagram pages. Over on this side, the biggest change is we have a full-size HDMI port. No more digging around to find out if you need a mini or micro HDMI. Just go ahead, grab that full-size HDMI cord. Now internally we do have a spec bump, which you would expect given that it is a new camera. We're up to 33 megapixels, which is, I think that's probably a good sweet spot to be honest, it's not your crazy high 50 plus, 40 plus megapixel resolution that you're seeing in your R5s and A7R4s, but it is more than we're seeing the 12 megapixels in that super sensitive A7S III FX3 bodies. So it's that nice little compromise between the two. It's not going to be awful in low light. It's not going to be amazingly high resolution. This is truly your hybrid camera for photo video shooters, or just, you know, if you just shoot a little bit of everything and you need something that is going to perform in any condition, you just want to grab one camera and go. This is definitely a good choice for that. The menu system is Sony's new revamped menu system. Thank you. Yes. Still about 450 pages of options to scroll through to find the right one, but it is so much better laid out than the previous menu system prior to the A7S III. It's just so much easier to get around, find your way around everything, complete with the custom menu settings as well, so you can pick out your favorite items, the ones you dive into the most, change up the most, and pop them up into the top. We've got the new processors in here, which allow for faster autofocusing, faster image processing, which means you get improved buffer throughput and all of those good things. Basically, it's in terms of the internal stuff, what you're looking at over the A7 III, ow, I just hit my elbow. What you're looking at over the A7 III internally is a bump in resolution and an improved speed as far as everything else goes. Frame rates, shutter speeds, like say buffer throughput, autofocus, that is all improved on the A7 IV. That's this one without the strap. As I say, look very, very similar. So there you have it. That is the A7 IV. It's available right now on our website, thelenspower.com, with rentals from 2 days all the way up to 90 days. Stay tuned, because we will be taking this out into the field and getting some real life photo examples. But until then, if you've enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful or informative, or if you just think I have a funny accent, please consider giving a like, thumbs up, subscribe, share, tell a friend, smash a bell, and all of those other cool things that the other cool YouTubers are saying this week. And until next time, I'll see you soon.